I've been the guy that was a college flunk out and decided I wanted to do this football thing and was chasing where you have no electricity. You're trying to make a decision between, am I going to buy groceries or going to pay my light bill?
Welcome back to From the 513. Opportunity now to talk to co-defensive coordinator and linebacker coach Cortney Braswell. Coach, let's just talk about Cincinnati so far. I mean, you've been here now a couple years, but the program itself is one thing, but the city of Cincinnati, how are you enjoying Cincinnati?
Man, the city of Cincinnati is phenomenal, man. I love the people. I love the culture. I think the biggest thing I love is it's a sports town, and people are rabid and crazy fans for everything. I don't know that I'd ever seen a Major League Soccer game, watched a Major League Soccer game, and I'm down there with the hooligans cheering for FC Cincinnati. So, man, it's an incredible town. You feel the love. It just permeates throughout the city, man. It's a real honor to be here.
Was there a moment when you were deciding to come here that made you say, okay, this is the place that I want to be?
I think it always starts with the people. And for me, the person was Coach Satterfield. He gave me my first opportunity when I was a high school coach to come and work for him at the University of Louisville. Then I had, Mike Brown, one of my college teammates, was here previously. And then when you look at the lineage and the legacy of players and coaches that have been here, for me it was a no-brainer. Being at Army West Point is one of the most significantly historical universities in the country. That was an easy place to leave, and I don't think I would have left if it weren't for Scott Satterfield and this football program.
Early on, when playing, did you envision yourself on the coaching side of things? As a former player, there are days you're like, man, this coach, what are we doing? Days are long. Did you know that that's what you wanted to do?
Man, no clue. No clue. I took the roundabout journey. I'm a college flunk out the first time and had no idea what I wanted to do, and my path kind of weaved. But I think it was the influence of coaches on my life. Grew up without a dad. My high school coach was like my dad. My college coaches were father figures to me, and probably selfishly, when I got done, I knew it was over. I think I wanted guys to feel about me the way I felt about my coaches. And they helped me zig where I otherwise would have zagged. Even to this day, something comes up, an important career decision, a family decision, what do you want to play on third down? Those are the calls that I make first, are those guys, because they're just a part of who I am. And so, and probably more significantly, is just the fact that I feel like it's part of my ministry. I feel like the good Lord put those guys in my life for those reasons, and I kind of want to give that back in the same way that it was given to me. And so, in a way, coaching found me. I think the good Lord kind of directed my path that direction, because, man, I at one point I thought I was going to be a politician. So, glad that didn't work out.
Is there something you've learned from playing the game, coaching the game, that still sticks with you every day?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is perseverance. It's a great word that people love and people talk about it all the time, but man, it literally means to push through severity. And so there means there's going to be difficult times. There's going to be hard things that you've got to overcome in this day and age, when it seems like people get rewarded for finding the shortcut. Man, there's still so much pride and so much can be said for somebody that sticks it out. And so I think for me, it's that message of continuing on. You don't know where your path's going to be. 2007, I'm a college flunk out with nothing to do, and no idea what I'm going to do with my life. Fast forward 20 years almost, and you're in this position doing this thing at this great university, man. You never know what the good Lord has in store for you. So it's stay the course, push through the severity, keep going, and man, you never know what's out there for you. And I think that's synonymous with the game of football and life in general.
How much does the perseverance resonate here in Cincinnati? Because I look at this team that's coming together, and not only the core group of guys that could have went to the NFL that decided to come back, but freshmen that played at a high level, sophomores that played at a high level that could have went elsewhere, but chose to come back here and continue this Cincinnati blue-collar tradition. How important is that in a program?
I think it's the most important thing. I think you need a couple things. It's the people, the process, and the product, right? I think we've got the right people in place. I think we've got a tremendous head coach. We've got a tremendous athletic director and a great supporting cast of coaches, trainers, weight room staff, QCs, GAs, and all of those things. And then the process, how we've gone about the right way. They're going to take your lumps, You're not going to come out and win the Big 12 championship the first year. That's certainly the aim, and that's certainly where we're heading, and that's certainly what we believe. But there's some process, some growing that goes on along the way. And so to have guys that have been here, even with the previous staff, have been a part of the winning tradition, have been a part of the culture, to breathe that into other areas with the new staff and then the transition we're making into the new conference, man, I think it's vital. To have that kind of lifeblood into the program. And then obviously the product speaks for itself, almost a 70% winning percentage here over the last 20 years. I mean, this place wins. That's what they do. Doesn't matter who the head coach is, doesn't matter who the players are, doesn't matter, they win. And so it's in the DNA. And so for us, it's just finding that strand and finding our path to that, and having guys that have been around that here and being a part of that and wanting to stay a part of that. It just sends the trajectory straight up.
It's not just about the high school recruits anymore. It's recruiting out of the portal, and you're obviously recruiting the player, but you're meeting with the families and making sure that it's a fit as well. When you go into those environments, what's your message on why the University of Cincinnati is the fit?
Man, I think, for me, it's always, why not? You want to win? We do that here. You want your son to be developed? We do that here. People focus so much on the X's and O's. For us, it's a focus on leadership. We want to develop leaders. We want to develop men. And if you develop good leaders, you're going to develop the culture you want, the things what you believe and how you behave and the interactions you have with people. You're going to get the behaviors that you want. You get the results that you want. And so for us, we take a personal investment in each person. If I sit in your living room and I talk to your son and I tell you I'm going to be his coach, I take that charge seriously because somebody did that for me. Mm-hmm. That's what my coaches did for me. And so that's not something that we take lightly. It's not transactional, it's transformational in our opinion. That I want to help your playing and you're going to help my coaching. And I think it's that part of developing that trust and that true relationship that I'm fully investing in your son to push him to be what it is he wants to be, to achieve his dreams. And I think it's making that kind of true, genuine investment in somebody that makes all the difference in the world. People talk about it all the time, but I see Coach Satterfield live it every single day. You see the families walk around the building. You see guys spending time together outside the building, players, coaches and players, everybody together. It resonates everywhere. And there's a true sense of love and camaraderie amongst our football team and the football staff. And so I think that thing, you can't fake that. Mm-hmm. You can't fake transformational. And you feel that when you walk through the building, when you interact with our players.
This isn't a normal job. It's a long hours. You're on the road a lot. It's not the 9-to-5 setting where you're in an office. What is it about this job that motivates you to be excited and enthusiastic to come to work every day?
Man, I've been on the other side of it. I've been the guy that was a college flunk out and decided I wanted to do this football thing and was chasing where you have no electricity. You're trying to make a decision between, am I going to buy groceries or going to pay my light bill? I remember at one point, man, I was studying by candlelight, eating beans from a can just because I wanted to do this. I think anything, you don't want to go back to that. Mm-hmm. And, coming from where I come, rural Northwest Georgia, people don't get to do these kind of things. So every single day you wake up in a dream. It feels like you wake up in a dream. And I think I try to always keep in perspective. Remember when everything you have right now is everything you ever wanted. Mm-hmm. And when you have that mentality, you think about it every day, you get up and try to be the best I can today for the linebackers, the defensive staff, the coaches here at the University of Cincinnati, the players. If I try to do that every single day, everything will take care of itself. Go to bed, wake up, and do it again tomorrow. So I think as long as I keep that focus, man, it's a privilege to be here. It's not a right. And I live kind of in that humble way all the time and keep that in the forefront of my mind.
One of the buzzwords when you talk about team sports is culture. Mm-hmm. And when you think of the new landscape of college football, you do have guys that are coming in that haven't been built into the program. So when you hear the word culture, how do you describe the culture at the University of Cincinnati?
Well, I think culture's, three things. It's what you believe, it's how you behave, and it's the experiences that other people have in your presence. And so it's evident and it's clear. You can kind of go around and see the slogans, but I don't think it's just slogans on a wall. It's how we interact with each other. You'll go down to the weight room, you'll see guys holding each other accountable. You'll see guys leading, and I think you'll see a huge amount of trust. Our guys are connected, they're people of character, and they're competent. They have a really good idea of what they're doing now, and I think that's the thing that you can just feel. And I think when you've got that going, and you've got other guys that are top-tier guys pulling other guys along, you feel that. It took us a long time to get that to this point, and we feel like our culture is as good as it's ever been, as good as anywhere in the country, if not the best. And I think because of that, that's why guys want to come here. Again, because it's not the logo you're chasing. It's not the gigantic, humongous stadium. You are chasing the love and the passion of the city and the fans and the love and passion amongst the players and the coaches.
Take me into a position meeting, a unit meeting behind the closed doors. What are some of the pillars that you're instilling in these players to be successful in this defense at the University of Cincinnati? I
think the first thing, there's got to be great trust amongst each other. I think it's the most important thing, and to trust somebody, I think I mentioned, is three tiers, right? You got to be a person of character, competence, and connection. There's got to be repeated instances of guys seeing that you're going to do exactly what you say you're going to do, that you know exactly what you're talking about, and that you care about them. And I think when you have high levels of trust, you can push people because, in order to push somebody, you got to be able to have trust with them. You can only push people to the level of trust you've established with them. And so I think that's the one thing that just kind of is always the reoccurring theme is how much can I get this guy to trust me? How much can I connect with this person? How much can I demonstrate character and competence from a player to a coach and from a coach to a player? How much can I do that? And I think when the trust comes, man, guys will run through a brick wall for you. And people don't like to talk about it, but you got a culture either by default or by design. And I think what we've done this offseason and the ones previous that's really showing up is the intentionality about those things. We understand, man, that we've got a tall task ahead of us. There are a lot of good football teams and good football coaches on those other sidelines, man. But we try to focus on us and figuring out how we can lead better, how we can have better culture, how we can trust each other more. And so when the weighted moments of the game come, you can look in the eyes of the guy and know they're going to make a play.
How can a player thrive at the highest ability to be a linebacker at the University of Cincinnati?
I think the first thing, man, is you got to accept the performance pathway, right? There's a way to do better. You got to have above the line behavior. You got to go to the absolute nth degree in everything. I think it's be the best. Challenge yourself every single day. Again, I think being a person of integrity, do what you say you're going to do, be who you say you're going to be all the time, and just understand that growth happens outside of business hours. That you're either getting better or you're getting worse. That just showing up to workouts on time doesn't make you special. Just running as hard as you can doesn't make you special. It's in the extra. And I think one of the things around here that's so unique is that the extra has now just become a part of the daily routine. So when those things happen, that's where the really special stuff can happen.
Is there a moment in your coaching career that you look back on as the proudest, from going from where you've been to where you've gotten to see everything kind of culminate on the field? Is there a moment that hits you that stands out the most?
Man, you know what? I think it's every single Saturday at kickoff. You hear them rolling the drive. You're at the Army-Navy game. You're App State, Georgia Southern, all these different places, man. And there's just a surreal moment where right before kickoff, you kind of stop and take it all in and think, man, what a blessing to be here. I'm certainly not deserving, but nobody appreciates it more than I do.
In today's world of college football, how are you dealing with players or parents even that feel like they should be starting from day one and their time might not be yet, but in a world where the transfer portal is evident, what is your message to the players that feel like they should be out there starting? I
think the biggest thing to me is when I really think about it, it's playing time is not up to me, it's up to you. If you think you're that good, there should be no question about it. Some of my friends, we always have this big debate. One of my great friends, James Rowe, who's the pass game coordinator at USF, he's a huge LeBron James fan. And I'm a big Michael Jordan fan. I got the J's on today. Yep. Michael Jordan is the greatest to me. And I said, why do you say Michael Jordan's the greatest? He's like, why? LeBron's got all these stats. I said, man, LeBron's a great basketball player, but Michael Jordan doesn't have to tell anybody how good he is. People just know. Yeah. And to me, that's it. When people are writing your legacy, guys, you ain't got to tell somebody you got to be a starter. Your play will tell them. And to me, it's all about the film. You cut on the film. If you play like a starter, you act like a starter, you'll be a starter. If you don't, then you won't be. But I think it's the guys that are out there, they never talk about that. If you're trying to sell the fact that you should be this guy, then that just kind of speaks to where you are. Because if you are, everybody knows. Nobody walks around here and wonders about Dante Corleone. Mm-hmm. Nobody wonders about Brendan Sorsby and Jake Golding and some of these guys, these great players that have been here. Nobody wondered about Ivan Pace or Tony Pike. They don't wonder about those guys. You just know. You don't have to tell a soul. So I think it's how you carry yourself, how you work, that demonstration of that, man. I think that speaks volumes to guys. And so I think it's about keeping it about what's on the film. It's not about what you feel, it's about what you do. Because people don't experience your intentions, they experience your behaviors. And so if my behavior says I'm a starter, if my actions say I'm a starter in everything that I do all the time, then the result will come. And so I think it's putting the focus back on what you put on film and not necessarily what you deserve. And I think that's the thing that kind of makes a difference.
How important is it the pathway that's been created from here to the National Football League? You think of guys that don't just get drafted and make it to the NFL, but players that are the best at their individual position in the NFL. Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce, Sauce Gardner, guys that have been here and have now succeeded at the highest level. How important is that from a recruiting tool standpoint for you?
I think it's super important. In a day where people see logos and they see money and they see all these flashing things, in my mind, it's meant to distract you. At the end of the day, you can go anywhere and be an elite player. It doesn't matter how big the stadium is, doesn't matter how many fans they have, doesn't matter how much NIL they pay you. At the end of the day, it's about the relationships and being in a place that can help you grow to your fullest potential. And that's where I feel like we differ. that we put so much into the personal growth and so much into the personal development and being fully vested in the person and helping them achieve their dreams. You can do that. You can do that here better than anywhere else in the country. And so to have a legacy of guys that came to Cincinnati that could have went to other places, but chose here, they chose the place that they felt would best feed who they are and what they need. And that's what we feel like we do. We can feed who you are and what you need. The other stuff will come. And that development piece is something that gets lost in a day where guys can jump in the transfer portal and go here and there. Come, be developed, earn your keep. And we feel like we can do that here at the University of Cincinnati.
You have a linebacker room that's one of the top strengths of this team, if not the top, one of the best in the Big 12. How have you cultivated such a successful room when you think of players that are seniors and freshmen that are both impacting the game at the same time? How do you cultivate a room like that?
I think the standard is a standard for all the guys. I think, there's a saying that, high standards, or was it like mediocre standards can't support high achievement, something of that nature. I can't remember, but, we try to have the same standard for all the guys all the time. So our freshmen that just got here, Miles Harris and Terrell Holcomb, have the exact same standard and expectation of play that Jack Dingle has. And we say, well, Coach, those are two different guys. Well, they're going to develop at a different rate, and they need different things. They're in a different place in their career, but the standard of what it is they need to do is exactly the same. And so I think that no nonsense, I'm not interested in your excuses. You're not interested in mine. Like, and if you make an excuse, that's somehow trying to convince yourself, either subconsciously or consciously, that unsatisfactory performance is okay. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's not. For whatever reason that may be, it's not important. The reason it's not important, what's important is the result. And so I think the thing that's happened is the guys at the top, the older guys, have done a really good job of cultivating that. So when Simeon Coleman comes in, I don't understand. Well, it's not an excuse. There's no excuse. What are you doing extra? And so, again, they started working outside of business hours. And I think the thing people always ask, you have all these guys, how do you play them? Man, we compete with each other, not against each other. And they say, what does it say? Rising tides raise all boats. And I think that's the thing, is that as guys have begun to elevate and their play gets higher, it gives the younger guys something to aspire to. And, we're healthy. Guys are out there playing. We're rotating them as much as we can and getting as many guys in the game as we can. We're fresh and everybody's locked in, man. So the focus has been through the roof. And I really attribute that to the older guys taking the younger ones under their wing. But again, it goes back to that camaraderie, that trust, that true, like, I love my teammate and I want what's best for him. I think when I was at Army, one of the things they talked about a lot, because one of the fascinating things is, how do you get soldiers in the fear of death to go and fight? And they just say it's not because they're scared of dying. It's not because somebody's shooting at them. It's not because they're shooting at somebody else. It's for the guy next to them. And so I think if you can get the guys to play for the guy next to them, they'll do that above. They'll do that. They won't do that for NIL. They won't do that for fans. They won't do that because they're on TV. They'll do it for each other. And that comes from love. So if you can love them and teach them to love each other, man, the sky's the limit for what you can do in a room.
How different is year two in a new defensive scheme and system compared to year one? And where do you see the biggest improvements coming?
I think the biggest thing is just in our room particularly, guys are really trying to figure out what they were doing. And from the linebacker standpoint, being in the center of the defense, you can really elevate your play when you understand how the defense fits together. So I feel like we've developed a depth of knowledge. The first year was we could remember what to do. We understood what we were supposed to do. Now we're able to analyze and critique and create things, And I think one of the things that showed up in spring practice was just the productivity at the linebacker position, because guys had a better idea of what to do. And just the defense as a whole, guys are much more comfortable. It's not, okay, what's the call? What do I do? You're like, okay, this is what the offense is doing now. And so I think we are more conscientious of what the offense is trying to do and not so much conscientious going into year two of what we're doing. And I think that frees you up to play some more, gives you a little bit of anticipation, man. And, you don't have to be a 4-3 guy to play fast. And I think that's the thing you've seen. We're playing a lot faster than we were previously just because we're a lot more comfortable.
What are people's reactions going to be when they get to see the indoor practice facility for the first time?
Man, no place like home. I mean, it's listen, I'm still waiting to go over there and see it myself. I've been waiting, but I mean, just the opportunity to have a place year-round, rain, shine, where you can go in there and train at a high level all the time. I mean, this place is going to be second to none, and we're so excited to call it home.
Lastly, the history of the University of Cincinnati. What's being built here right now. Just on a personal level, what's it mean to you to be a part of Cincinnati football?
Man, to be a part of something that's so much bigger than yourself, to have a small part of the history of this place and the winning tradition and all the great coaches. You think about all the guys that have come in your job before you and been here before you. I certainly don't think I'm them. I certainly am reverent of guys like Marcus Freeman and Luke Fickell and Mike Tomlin and, you know, Rick Minner and all those great coaches and people and humans that have been at this place, man. So just to be a part of that, man, is so special. Like I said, it's an absolute privilege, and we want to honor that memory by doing what we need to do on Saturdays.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Appreciate you.